4.6 billion years ago, Earth was an uninhabitable sphere of molten rock and continuous volcanic eruptions. The atmosphere was choked with toxic gases and ash. Then, millions of years of heavy rain finally cooled the crust, forming massive oceans where the very first microbial life took hold. As millions of years passed, survival on this newly formed planet became a matter of pure physical dominance. This biological strategy reached its absolute peak during the reign of the dinosaurs. For over 160 million years, growing larger, faster, and stronger was the standard way to stay alive. These creatures pushed the absolute limits of biology. A species like the Titanosaurus weighed upward of 40 tons, entirely dwarfing modern land animals. Supporting a body the size of a 10-story building required a staggering biomechanical architecture. This massive scale was a necessary adaptation to intimidate fierce predators and to reach foliage at the very tops of the tallest trees. Then, 65 million years ago, a 15-kilometer-wide asteroid traveling at 70,000 kilometers per hour struck the coast of modern-day Mexico. The impact instantly triggered towering tsunamis and engulfed the globe in ash, entirely blocking out the sun. Without sunlight, the global food chain collapsed. The massive bodies that had guaranteed the dinosaur survival now required far more calories than a dying planet could provide. Physical strength proved completely useless against a sudden planetary shift. Earth's environment was wiped clean, leaving room for a new biological experiment. Small mammals survived the fallout. As the global climate eventually cooled and Africa's dense jungles receded into sprawling grasslands, early primates had to leave the safety of the canopy. To navigate the tall grass and search for food, they began walking upright on two legs. By the time Homo sapiens appeared roughly 300,000 years ago, they were physically outmatched. They lacked sharp claws, armor plating, or thick fur to survive the cold. Instead, their primary survival mechanism was a rapidly expanding brain. This enlarged cortex triggered what scientists call the cognitive revolution. Early humans developed advanced language, giving them the ability to articulate complex thoughts rather than just basic grunts of fear or aggression. Language quickly evolved past simple warnings about nearby predators. Humans began to invent stories, mythologies, and shared beliefs. By communicating entirely fictional concepts, thousands of strangers could suddenly align under a common identity and cooperate. While the apex predators of the past relied on solitary physical mass to dominate their environment, early humans formed organized, tightly knit communities. They began to conquer the planet using the power of collective thought. Armed with this organizational capacity, Homo sapiens migrated out of East Africa. They crossed raging rivers, climbed mountain ranges, and traversed deserts, stepping into completely unknown territories. This chart shows the genetic makeup of modern populations, revealing an overlap with ancient hominids. Instead of purely fighting Neanderthals and Denisovans, Homo sapiens interbred with them. Today, many populations retain between 1 to 4% of this ancient DNA, absorbing their genetic traits. This adaptability was put to the ultimate test roughly 20,000 years ago. A shift in Earth's orbit plunged the planet into the last glacial period. Ice sheets blanketed Europe and Asia, creating an environment where a hairless ape should have quickly frozen to death. Instead of waiting thousands of generations for evolution to grant them thick fur, humans engineered an immediate solution. They skinned hunted animals to wear their pelts, brought fire into deep caves to stay warm, and actively modified their immediate surroundings to block out the cold. Intelligence served as an evolutionary shortcut. By inventing tools and behaviors to insulate themselves, humans survived extreme climates without needing their actual biology to change. Around 11,000 years ago, the glaciers retreated, global temperature stabilized, rivers flowed freely, and wildlife settled into predictable patterns. Humans realized they no longer had to endure a dangerous, nomadic life chasing migrating herds. They began to plant seeds and domesticate wild animals. By extracting copper and crafting durable metal tools for harvesting, humans took active control of their food supply. They started reshaping the natural world to serve their specific needs. This surplus of food allowed massive populations to settle along fertile river valleys. In Mesopotamia, situated between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, the sheer concentration of people required a new system of management. They invented cuneiform script to track trade, record debts, and establish the world's first written laws. Thousands of miles away, the Indus Valley civilization took this planning even further. Interestingly, excavators have found no massive armories or evidence of absolute dictators, suggesting a highly organized, peaceful society focused on trade. Cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa were built on precise, grid-like street plans. Beneath these straight brick foundations lay sophisticated underground drainage systems. Individual homes had private wells and structured waste removal, a level of civic engineering that remained unmatched for millennia. Holding these vast, complex cities together required an evolution of humanity's oldest tool, collective belief. Carved seals bearing symbols and figures allowed merchants to authenticate goods and citizens to share religious ideologies across vast distances. Over 4.6 billion years, Earth transformed from a boiling expanse of magma into a lush world ruled by lumbering 40-ton reptiles. Yet it was ultimately an unprotected, physically weak ape that conquered the globe, armed entirely by the capacity to imagine a future and build it.